A logger was taking a break away from the campsite. He thought about the recent disappearances of their colleagues. They had accidents, they said, but something doesn't make sense. Accidents? All happened at the same time? As he pondered, he felt something was dripping on him. He looked up and saw his missing colleague dangling on the tree, with apples growing unnaturally on his dead body. Terrified, he ran. He could hear inhuman chants all around him. He almost got to the camp, but something grabbed his leg, fiercely dragged him back into the woods, and the bleeding faces on the tree was the last thing he saw. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you a SCP Foundation neutralized object SCP-4608. SCP-4608, also known as Appleseed, was a 60-acre apple orchard containing over 22,000 trees, located on the outskirts of Milan, Indiana. Sigils and symbols relating to occult Norse religions were found engraved on most of the trees. Within the orchard, there were organisms consisting of unidentified plant-like muscular structures, dubbed SCP-4608-1. These instances were predatory in nature, highly mobile, and aggressively territorial. Additionally, a large apple tree with 13 human faces embedded on its bark, dubbed SCP-4608-2, could be found in the middle of the orchard. The faces were capable of speech, though the language used is currently unidentified. It was hostile and used its roots as a means of manipulation. 4608 was discovered when a local logging company had purchased the land on which it was located. Shortly after the first expedition, all crew members were either declared dead or missing. The search party was also presumed missing. On October 14, 1947, the Foundation was alerted to the occurrences surrounding the area by police reports accompanied by a photograph of an instance of 4608-1. In response, the Foundation dispatched a 3-man team to investigate 4608. After 4 days of no contact, all 3 agents were presumed dead. Following this, a high-risk response team, Mobile Strike Force Bravo 7, was dispatched to handle the situation. Alpha Squad moved swiftly into the site, with Beta Squad headed east and Gamma Squad went west. The mission was to find out what happened to the investigation team, and if necessary, neutralize any hostile forces. Their surroundings began to appear more barren as they advanced deeper in. As they approached the incident site, the squad found several dead bodies. The bodies were heavily mutilated, and their chests were ripped open and filled with apples. Christ, who and what could have done this? Suddenly, they heard a loud shriek from their radios. They immediately huddled into a defensive formation, trained their rifles towards the tree line, and scanned for movement. Squad leads, report. It came from the southwest. We're definitely not alone out here. Alpha Squad began moving towards the direction and slowly entering the tree line.
Unlike earlier, the trees they encountered now appeared to be healthier and taller.
They noticed that there was some sort of strange sigil etched on the trees. They felt that somebody or something was stalking them. Another loud shriek was heard, but this time it wasn't from the radio. Multiple shrieks shot through the woods from the opposite direction several seconds later. Suddenly, Alpha 4 caught movement at the edge of his vision, but it was too quick for him to have a clear look. Beta Squad called on their radios. "We've got a man down! Repeat, man down!" Beta 6 screamed. Sounds of gunshots accompanied with shrieks can be heard through the radio.
Alpha Squad now realized there was only 3 of them. Alpha 5 has gone missing.
But they had found their teammate quickly, as they turned around and saw Alpha 5 bisected and hanging by his intestines from the trees, swaying lifelessly. As they began to mobilize, a loud shriek came from behind them. They turned around, then finally had a clear look at their stalker. A 4608-1 lunged at Alpha 1. At this time, Beta Squad was sustaining heavy damage, as Beta 8 was killed in action and Beta 6 severely injured. They needed to find a place to regroup and stabilize. Soon, they arrived at a small abandoned chapel. The shrieks got louder and sounded more hostile the closer they got to the chapel. "Get him in there! Go, go, go!" They rushed past the doorway, and Beta 1 slammed the door against the pursuing instances of 4608-1. Beta-9 hastily rested Beta-6 on the floor and helped to barricade the door against the relentless onslaught. Beta-6 lay weakly on the ground. He shone his flashlight in front of him, illuminating a wall composed of human skulls. Jesus, we're doomed. Beta-9 paced quickly over to him and laid down his first aid kit. Hey, snap out of it. Stay with me, buddy. We'll get you out of this. Oh, God. As he focused his light on Beta-6's leg wound, he found that not only the area around it was showing signs of necrosis, but several apple seeds were also embedded in and around the wound. Hang in there. I'm so sorry, but this is gonna hurt. Beta-9 produced a scalpel and began digging into the wound to get the seeds out. For a moment, the chapel was filled with the shrieks from behind the barricaded door, and Beta-6's scream of pain as the seeds were painstakingly taken out one by one. Beta-1 stood guard near the door, and his radio beeped. It was Alpha 7. Can anybody hear me? Come in! Before Beta-1 could respond, he was alerted by a loud shriek. He turned around and saw Beta-9 flailing on the ground, as multiple instances of 4608-1 were ripping off chunks of his flesh. More instances were also emerging from Beta-6's mouth, eyes, and leg wound. Alpha Team is down. Those bastards killed us off. Beta-1, where are you? But Beta-1 could not respond, as multiple 4608-1 instances forcefully ripped out his throat. All Alpha 7 heard was the sound of flesh being torn apart. At the west side of the orchard, Gamma 1 was kneeling beside a disemboweled Gamma Squad member with a blank look on his face. Several inhuman voices could be heard speaking in an unidentified language.
Suddenly, a call from Alpha 7 shook him into senses.
Gamma Squad, you there? I'm all alone. Please come in. Gamma 1 pulled himself together. He took a grenade from the pocket of his fallen comrade and stood up. He said, "It's just me now." As he looked around, he saw human faces emerging from the surrounding trees. The faces were sobbing as blood poured from their empty eye sockets. Listen carefully. Get out of here right now and call for backup. I'm gonna finish this. He walked towards the largest tree, which was 4608-2, with a grenade clenched in his hand. All 13 faces stopped shrieking and began frantically vocalizing in the unknown language. As he got closer, a large root emerged from the ground and constricted around Gamma 1, pulling him towards it. That's right, pull me in. I ain't going anywhere. Despite his bones that were being crushed by the roots, he laughed hysterically as he slowly lifted up his hand. The grenade's pin had been pulled. Except to hell. And I'm taking all you bastards with me. The grenade went off, and 4608-2 erupted into flames as it collapsed. The surrounding trees screamed as they spontaneously combusted. The orchard was engulfed in a fiery blaze that darkened the sky for a long moment. The members of Mobile Strike Force Bravo 7 were posthumously awarded the Foundation Star for their efforts in neutralizing 4608. Isaac was brought in to face his community. His hands bound behind his back, and two strong men held his arms. With one strong shove, Isaac was made to kneel in front of the people, who all looked upon him with contempt and disgust. The chief walked towards Isaac and spat on him. Before our Great War, Isaac was known for his knowledge of medicine, being passionate and devoted to helping his fellow brothers and sisters. He was an invaluable contributor to the construction of our healing houses, which have sadly since been destroyed during those dark days. As one wise man had said before, all roads to hell are paved with good intentions. And Isaac here, my fellow brothers and sisters, had committed a crime most foul against his people. The crowd erupted in anger. They cursed and threw rotten vegetables at Isaac, who only stared blankly at them. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object SCP-2988. SCP-2988, also known as Folly of the Fruit Eater, is an anomalous tree located in a grove within an undisclosed location in North America. It bears resemblance to the quaking aspen, albeit that it grows a fruit not found on standard quaking aspen trees. The fruit is designated as SCP-2988-1. SCP-2988-1 instances have black skin, soft red-orange flesh, and are ovular in shape. Its juice possesses narcotic and anesthetic properties, which include hallucinations, giddiness, and vomiting in subjects who consume the fruit. The subject will then experience numbness and the loss of motor skills. Several branches of 2988 are affixed at the end with animal and human forelimbs, all of which appear to have been ripped off with extreme force. Said limbs do not show signs of decay, despite constant exposure to the elements. These forelimbs possess full dexterity and assist 2988 in grasping, hitting, and restraining those that come near 2988. When a human comes within 4 meters of 2988, 2988 will bend noticeably towards them at the trunk. Appendages on 2988 near the subject then pick and offer 2988-1 to them, gesturing in a manner indicative of 2988 wanting the subject to eat the fruit. If it is consumed, 2988 will wait until the subject is incapacitated by the fruit's effects before taking further action. If the fruit is refused, or if the subject tries to leave the vicinity of 2988, 2988 will attempt to force-feed 2988-1 to them, often restraining the subject via forelimbs. They can travel approximately 30 meters from 2988 while in pursuit before showing signs of losing mobility. Limbs have been observed dragging fatigued limbs back to 2988. If a subject is captured, 2988 will grab them by their wrists and ankles and elevate them to the uppermost branches. If there are multiple subjects, they are spread evenly throughout the branches. During this time, juice from 2988-1 is constantly dripped into the subject's mouth. Any person held captive is usually unable to resist at this point due to both their restraint and their drugged state. Approximately 3 minutes later, forelimbs on 2988 will cease to drip feed subjects. 2988 as a whole will begin to shake increasingly, with its leaves beginning to produce the distinct rustling noises heard from normal quaking aspen trees. Limbs near the subject will then grab the length of one of their arms and pull back violently until the arm is removed. Limbs removed from a subject are passed around through the branches of 2988 until a relatively empty area of space is found. A branch will insert itself in the exposed muscle of the limb, possibly binding itself to the bones. After approximately 40 seconds, the newly attached appendage shows signs of regained dexterity. 2988 will then violently throw all subjects to the ground at its roots. Subjects are usually killed from the impact. Over the next 72 hours, the bodies rapidly rot, presumably acting as fertilizer for 2988 in the process. 2988 grows several dozen 2988-1 as the bodies decompose. During this time, 2988 has also been observed to lob several 2988-1 fruits away from itself. It is hypothesized that this may be an attempt by 2988 to reproduce. Several documents were found nearby SCP-2988. They contained not only the details of the tree, but also its assumed creator, Isaac. The snow fell continuously and relentlessly. It has been a few weeks since the fighting began. For the past 2 weeks, Isaac had resorted to hiding in a shack hidden by the ice, praying that some hungry stray animals don't smell him out. Either that or to consume his fallen brothers and sisters in the village. He could hear the Maker telling him in his head that eating will save his mind, and for once, Isaac doubted him. No, he thought. Tearing apart my fellow people won't preserve me in the slightest. Eventually, hunger got the best of him, and he tried to go outside. The cold began to tingle as soon as he stepped out. He couldn't find any plants worth eating in the frozen landscape, and didn't have the strength to craft something up. He walked for what felt like days, and collapsed in front of a shrine. Isaac used all his energy and dragged his ravaged body inside. He passed out and then woke up again to cold daylight. He realized he had been lying beside a half-eaten goat. It was frozen, but it didn't matter. He wolfed down what little meat remained on the carcass. He found a set of instruments buried nearby as he was licking up snow. He then saw the fire pit and thought that he could craft something there. Just need a little more ingredients. He just needed to cut himself up. A gift from the Maker, and a test of my will. A chance for me to redeem myself for not trusting his will. After a grueling pain of severing his flesh, he begun his ritual and grew a little sprout in the fire pit. Fruits grew from it, and Isaac was delighted. It tasted sweet, and for a moment, Isaac was in bliss. Oh, praise be to the Maker for bestowing upon this ravaged soul a most welcomed gift. He decided that he would explore further to see if there are others who were hungry like him and share the fruits with them. The next few days, he finally found 5 people who fled from the village just like he did. They were all weak and hungry when Isaac found them. He led them to the shrine and shared the fruits. It gave Isaac a sense of joy and confidence to see them trusting him and recovering. Feels good to be a healer again, he thought to himself. However, as they grew closer, Isaac found out that these people were the heathens who started all this fighting in the beginning. He talked to them about his experience, and they said they were supporting the traitors to the Maker. Anger began to swell within Isaac, but he kept calm and went along with the talk. Afterwards, he gave them more food than usual, and they were grateful. Once they were sleeping from eating the fruit, Isaac began his plot for revenge. He was precise, 1 bite per limb, clean. That way, they could never flee. Then he went to work on them. He chopped them up one by one. He took their body parts to the fire pit and performed the ritual. To his surprise, the tree was able to move now. It scooped the meat and spread them around its roots. It must be a sign, Isaac thought. A tool given by the Maker to me to deliver judgment upon the heathens. He decided that he would hunt down the heathens. Their bones will be added to the tree. It will be recorded and everyone will know what happened to the blasphemers. He would not eat them, but he would have whatever fruits that come off from them once the tree consumes them. He played the weak role and found 2 heathens one day. They gave chase as Isaac led them back to the shrine. It attacked, it whipped its branches and held them down. Again, Isaac chopped them up and used their body parts for the ritual. He realized something. The fruit tastes different with each addition. Up to 31 limbs now. 3 more heathens the next day. The tree was beginning to grow out of the shrine windows. Isaac dragged 2 more victims. They screamed all the way until Isaac delivered them to the tree for divine silencing. Isaac almost let one slip, but suddenly the tree grew a dozen or so arms at her and dragged her back. Yet another divine secret was revealed, thought Isaac. He knelt in front of the tree as the victim struggled to free herself from the tree. O divine Maker, silence the heathens in all your glory, for your judgment is sound. Isaac's murder spree didn't last long, as one day he was confronted in his shrine by a man from the village. He held up a paper with his name on it. It accused Isaac of kidnapping fellow citizens and eating them inside the shrine. He was promptly clubbed in the head and body parts chopped up and fed to the tree. That made it 63. He realized he couldn't stay there any longer and had to leave. Still, eventually, he was caught by the villagers and brought to a public trial in front of everyone. Do you know what crimes you are being punished for? I've committed no crimes. I merely carried out judgment, as the Maker had deemed it so. You insolent maniac! You have crafted a tree using your own flesh and bone with the intent that it would provide you food. But then you used your craft against our people, murdered them, maiming them, just so you could grow and fuel your abominations. And now, accept your punishment. Isaac's limbs were crushed beyond healing limits, then severed, so he can never craft again. He was branded with the names of each citizen he caused to suffer. As for the tree, it had shown surprising resilience to destruction, in both crude and spellcasting terms. And so it was sealed away to the unplotted lands in the underplane, where it will remain untouched for the centuries to come. Until now.
Viewer discretion is advised. The mist of the chilly night engulfed the nursery grounds. It was dark, but the illumination at the nursery kept Emily going. She had to complete her task flawlessly this time, or else she would lose her job. As Emily carried the freshly repotted plants from one table to another, a loud bang shocked her since she was all alone. It's probably a squirrel again, she comforted herself. Emily slowly settled the pots on the table. Suddenly, she felt the presence of someone behind her, and a strong scent of flowers beset her. She tried to move, but her movement was hindered, and she felt something lingering around her boots. It was a rope of vines, slowly moving and wrapping loops around her body, imbibing her with all its might. She started screaming, but with each scream, the vines squeezed her tighter and tighter, to the point of asphyxiation. The nursery was shaken up by the piercing screams of Emily Taylor, and this would be the last of what will ever be heard of her. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you a SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object, SCP-3019. SCP-3019, also known as the Soylent Nursery, is a property owned by a nursery located in the outskirts of an undisclosed location in Australia. It primarily composed of the following areas: production areas for the propagation of plants, warehouse housing industrial potting machinery, a loading area, a green waste disposal area, chemical engineering building, and an office building. After the mysterious disappearance of 84 employees, which footage showed them being dragged away by the anomalous vines and never to be seen again, the nursery caught the attention of the Foundation. The area was immediately acquired, and Site 919 was promptly established in close proximity to oversee the nursery for any possible anomalies. No abnormality within the site was found throughout the day. However, shortly after sunset, the team observed the appearance of a humanoid entity, henceforth designated as SCP-3019-A. Its forearms appeared to be extended via wooden growths. Its severely scarred face is capable of peeling back into 6 petal-shaped flaps via embedded vines emerging from the eye sockets, nasal passages, and mouth of the skull. With its outlook hideously covered in green tailing plants, it displayed extensive knowledge of horticulture. It had also proven capable of lifting weights in excess of 600 kilograms through the use of muscles reinforced with plant cells. After observing the entity, the team sent a D-Class personnel to find out how 3019-A would respond to intruders. Even though he was careful and slow with his movement, as soon as he stepped on the threshold of the site, 3019-A became alarmed and hostile. It then moved towards him by the most direct path possible without disturbing the plants, and bludgeoned him to death with agricultural tools. It then relocated the body to the potting area of the nursery, where the D-Class was constricted and eventually crushed by vine-like growths before feeding them into mulching units. The remains were converted into blood and bone fertilizer to be applied to the plants. No other anomalies were detected until an ill-fated evening, when the sunset brought the unfortunate horrors into the light. With 3 months of no workers working to take care of the plants, the nursery's outlook was tarnished. The plants were withered and ruined, which angered and distressed 3019-A, resulting in a horrifying array of events. On the 9th of January, at around 9 p.m., 3019-A appeared distressed. It breached the perimeter of Site 919. 8 Foundation agents retreated into the nearby woods after trying to neutralize 3019-A, which resulted in distressing it even more, to the point that it attempted to incapacitate the agents. In doing so, contact between the agents and Foundation was broken, and thus 3019-A's location was lost for 43 minutes. After receiving reports of possible sightings of 3019-A in a nearby town, MTF Theta 4 was dispatched to intercept it. Later, 3019-A was cited to have re-entered the nursery, but it was not alone. It was dragging 19 civilians and Foundation personnel restrained in a mass of vines. Okay, get ready to take the shot. Wait, hold your fire. Some of the victims broke free, but were stabbed in their bodies by 3019-A's growths and injected with an unknown substance. The same vines that were restraining the captives started to grow rapidly from their wounds and orifices. It then transported 6 of the captives alive into 3019's office facility. Damn it! All right, we gotta get in there. Move in! They gained access to the nursery by removing a section of the wall, since the doors and windows could not be opened. To their surprise, the building seemed to be warping its angles like a series of illusions. Every time they tried to follow the stairs trying to reach the office, they would end up with the same wall standing right in front of them. When the illusion began to get worse, the team retreated. The night passed. When the task force was finally able to access the office building basement the next day, no trail or evidence of any victim was found. The fact that 84 people vanished into thin air as if never existed was disconcerting for the Foundation. At 9 p.m. the same day, 6 humanoid entities emerged from the building and began caring for the plants in the same manner as 3019-A. These entities resembled human beings with their skin replaced by flowering plants and soil. The roots were structured and integrated into the bodies, similar to that of veins, resulting in apparent brain death. MTF Theta-4 then successfully captured the specimens. However, upon removal from the nursery grounds, they began to deteriorate rapidly. Fortunately, researchers have managed to extract their DNA and had confirmed that they were composed of the victims of 3019-A. 5 days passed, and the Foundation discovered a horrifying truth. The sources of the unknown flowering plants growing within 3019, which displayed human traits including skin, rudimentary nervous systems, and eyes, were actually from the missing employees. A year later, a drone sent to film the nursery after sunset revealed something sinister about the identity of 3019-A. The feed showed a tattoo of an oak tree with elaborate roots turning the flowers on 3019-A's left bicep. This closely matched the tattoo on the left bicep of Emily Taylor. Another raid on the nursery grounds was conducted, and Emily's possessions were then investigated. A letter was found. It read, "Miss Taylor, over the past 30 years, I have striven to make this into the most successful business possible. We are a hardworking team here, and with that hard work comes the benefits of profit and promotion through our ranks. And as such, we very much value hard workers. You are not a hard worker. Every time I visit the dispatch area, I see you working slowly, sloppily, and spending most of your time socializing with your coworkers. Despite multiple warnings, you remain a problem for me and the team at the nursery, and we are sick of it. You have had your second, third, and final warnings, and now it is time to suffer the consequences. Enclosed in this envelope is a little something I made to improve your work performance. Perhaps this experience will finally teach you the meaning of hard work and respect for your employers. We look forward to working with you for many, many years to come. Sincerely yours, Eric." The content of the letter sent chills down his spine. My God. Jackson, take this letter to the boys in the bureau. They need to see this. We need to find this Eric guy. Just then, he noticed something inside the envelope. Wait. Don't touch it. I'll take this. Subsequent investigations showed trace elements of soil and unknown spores in the letter. Despite ongoing search efforts, the current whereabouts of Mr. Eric remained unknown to this date. Remember to check out my new animation channel, TheRubber Talks, where I share my life story, thoughts, and opinions. Just click on the link in the description to enter the Rubber's world. Before we end this video, we are proud to present these incredibly sweet pieces of fan art. A big thank you to all of you. You can now send us your fan art, and we will be more than happy to show off your best art piece in our next video. Check out our description below on how to submit. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Which SCP do you want to see in the next video, and why it is interesting? Let us know in the comment below. We will draw your story and share it with the world. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Please share it to your friends if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.